Let's take a look at coordinate systems and the Projection Explorer dialog in ProRaster. I'm using ProRaster Premium. So let's open an algorithm. This is my global atlas rendering. The first thing to note is that for an algorithm, on the algorithm property page, you'll see some coordinate system controls here. So the first one is the coordinate system default. That's telling you what coordinate system the algorithm is best displayed in based on the coordinate systems of the rasters that are being sourced for the algorithm. So it's telling us that it's in longitude, latitude. There's an information button here and you can get some information on that coordinate system. Brings up that little dialog. Now if you want, you can override the coordinate system, and that's in this second control immediately below it. And there's a drop list here which will have the recently used coordinate systems that you've accessed. So at the moment it says that there's no coordinate system specified. In other words, I'm not currently overriding the current coordinate system. But if I drop this down, I'll see the ones that I've recently accessed. So for example, we have here projections of the world, popular visualization. So if I select that, then you'll see the whole algorithm reprojected into a different coordinate system. And now it's saying that the coordinate system is projection of the world, popular visualization. Another one is here's this model-wide, turns it into this nice circular globe coordinate system. So that's an override of the coordinate system. Now looking through the algorithm, through the tree, if we go to a layer, you'll see that those same controls exist for a layer. And if you go to a component, those very same controls exist for a component. Now my advice is that at the layer level, you don't touch those controls. But at the component level, it can be useful because there are situations where the raster engine may not be able to determine the coordinate system of a raster, or might determine it to be the wrong coordinate system. So if we just unload this. So for example, I have a file here. It's an ArcASCII file. So if I drag and drop that in, what it's going to do is create a default algorithm and display it for me. Now because it was an ArcASCII file, you notice it created a cache here, the perk file. Now it says that there's no coordinate system detected or defined because that information is not in the ArcASCII file. So in a scenario like this, I would go into the component and I would select a coordinate system. So the way to select a coordinate is either drop from this drop list, or secondly, hit the button to the right. This is the Projection Explorer. So we'll bring that dialog up. It doesn't quite fit onto the screen, but we can see most of it. So we have a few major components. Firstly, you have a map down here, and as you move your cursor around, it'll tell you what country you're looking at and tell you your latitude and longitude. You can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and to zoom out, and you can pan around with the left mouse button, click and hold, and you can pan about. And it's giving us a rendering of the bathymetry and terrain as well as the countries. And then up here, there's a second preview. Again, you can pan and zoom about. And this is a preview of the reprojected global data. So to go looking for a coordinate system, you firstly go up to this category list. So there are two special categories. Firstly, the recent selections, and here's the projections that we've selected recently. And secondly, right down the bottom of this category list, there's the user-defined coordinate systems. These are coordinate systems that you define yourself. Apart from that, there are just a whole bunch of different categories. So latitude, longitude, projections of the world, projections of a hemisphere. So let's take a look at some of these, for example. So here's the North Pole, projections of a hemisphere, projections of the world, Robinson. Here are the popular visualization coordinate systems. And then, of course, there are a whole bunch of other ones for different countries of the world and different UTM coordinate systems. So if we go into, say, a map grid of Australia, zone 55, and we select that, you'll see down here that in the map we've got a red box now, which is showing us the area of the globe that is valid for that projection. And up here in the preview map, the map is now clipped to that area of the globe, just that part of Eastern Australia. So for a lot of the projections, that doesn't work. So if I go to this one, for example, now I'm not showing a preview, and the preview's gone into grayscale. That means that we don't have a bounding box for this particular projection, AMG Zone 47. And usually that's because it doesn't have an EPSG code. So if it's got an EPSG code, we'll usually have a bounding box for that particular projection. But if it's not there, then you can tell that because this will go grayscale. So that's a way to select, and then we just hit the OK button, we'd select that projection. Another way we could look for a projection is we can do a search. So hit the search button, brings up this dialog. So let's say I was looking for 2335, or 355, we'll find the right one. So it's found, for example, the EPSG code 2355. So we can select the one there. And it's also listed others that are similar to those search terms. So if I type in Australia, then I get a whole bunch of possible search results. Another way to search for a coordinate system is to click on the map. So if I double click here in Western Australia, then I get suggestions. So we have Zone 51, AGD 66, Zone 84, Map Grid of Australia, Map Grid of Australia 2020. So there's the most popular ones. And then there'll be a whole bunch of other ones that are reasonable for that location on the Earth. So we'll choose this one, for example. So for the projection that you've selected, you can hit the information button, and that will give you some information about that projection, including the bounds, the projected bounds. And then this button here is select no coordinate system. So sometimes you have a coordinate system and you want to indicate to the system that you don't want it, in which case you can say select no coordinate system and then hit OK, and there'll be no coordinate system selected. The other buttons up there refer to the user-defined coordinate systems. So you have an add button to add a user-defined coordinate system. Then you have to enter the member, the EPSG code if it's known, and the parameters. And the formats of those things are compatible with MapInfo. So you need to go to the MapInfo help documentation to work out how to format these strings. Once you've added one, then you'll be able to delete it using that button. So once we've selected a coordinate system, let's try again. Down here, say we'll take this one, Zone 56, hit OK. That becomes selected in our coordinate system override, and now the algorithm will be in that coordinate system, whereas previously we didn't know what it was. Now it says it's in that coordinate system, and of course, if you want to display this data in the context of other data, then you need to know what coordinate system it's in. So that's Coordinate System and the Projection Explorer in ProRaster.